Now, as I said in the last video, dealing with columns that have short responses are a little bit more difficult, because if you look, all three of these are technically correct answers. They all recognize that Joe Biden is the vice president, but they do it in different ways. My answer is the full name, but this person just decided to do the last name. He did full name, and this person decided to do first initial last name. Now, if I just do my normal method, which is to say if, in this case I would say it's J3 equals, now because it's short response I need to do the literal words, so I use parentheses, Joe, and then I put a space, Biden. If that's the solution, they get a 1. If it's something else, they get a 0. Now, we said this person's right, but look, it shows a 0. And if I drag across all three, the only person that gets actual credit is the person that wrote the full name. So I can change the code slightly. To do so, what I can say is, let me think about all the different options that could happen. So if J3 equals Joe Biden, we give him a 1. But say it's something different. I can continue to build more if-then statements. So if it's not Joe Biden, let's say if J3 equals, maybe they just did last name, Biden. Then I'm going to give them a 1. And if it's not that, I give them a 0. Now let's see what happens. Now I see that the first two get it. And that makes sense because last name Biden, that would give me a 1. Full name gives me a 1. But I want to capture this J Biden as well. So what I'd have to do is add one more if-then statement. So I have if it's Joe Biden, get a 1. Else, check to see if Biden is there and give him a 1. If that's not the case, we'll check it one last time. And we'll say J3 equals J Biden. And if that's the case, we give them a 1. But if it's not one of those three options, we're going to give them a 0. And now all three are correctly included. And that's part of the issue with these free response problems and doing auto grading, because you have to think about every different way that a student may actually write out the correct answer that is slightly different than what you did. In many respects, it may be much easier to go through auto grade multiple choice free response grid and list questions, multiple choice list grid questions, and do the free response by hand and give them a 1 or a 0 in that final column yourself. Because what we want to do now is actually average the grade. Again, we're just going to come to this final one, and we'll even name it grade. I just double clicked. So if I want to do the grade, I'm going to use a formula that uses the average. I'm going to take average, and my average is all of my problems that they actually completed, which is from L to S. Now that will give me a decimal value. I would rather have the actual percent. So if I take a decimal and want to change it to a percent, I just multiply by 100. And that tells me that person got a 75%. They got a 37.5%. And this person got a 25% grade. And that's some of the basics of auto grading with Google Forms.